Ever wondered why the winters feel shorter, and summers feel like never-ending heat waves? This is not just your imagination playing tricks on you. The seasons are indeed shifting, and the weather is becoming more extreme. The culprit? Global warming and climate change. These forces are reshaping our world from the length of our seasons to the intensity of our storms, and it's happening right here, right now. This, my friends, is the unsettling reality of global warming and climate change. So what causes this global warming that we keep hearing about? Good question. It all boils down to something called the greenhouse effect. Picture a greenhouse. It's designed to trap heat inside, allowing plants to grow in colder climates. Now, imagine our planet as a gigantic greenhouse. Naturally occurring gases in our atmosphere like carbon dioxide and methane act like the glass walls of a greenhouse, trapping heat and keeping our planet warm enough to support life. But here's the catch. Human activities like burning fossil fuels for electricity, heat, and transportation have dramatically increased the amount of these greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. For instance, when we burn coal, oil, or gas, we release carbon dioxide. Similarly, activities like agriculture and waste management release significant amounts of methane. The result? Just like adding another layer of glass to a greenhouse, we're trapping more and more heat. The concentration of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere today is higher than at any point in the last 800,000 years. That's a long time. It's not just about the amount, though. These gases linger in our atmosphere for years, even centuries. So even if we stopped emitting them today, many of the gases already in our atmosphere would continue to warm our planet. We also can't forget about the role of deforestation in all of this. Trees absorb carbon dioxide, so when we cut them down, not only are we removing this natural carbon sink, but we're also releasing the stored carbon back into the atmosphere when the wood is burned or decomposes. It's a double whammy for our climate. In essence, we're wrapping our planet in a thick blanket of heat-trapping gases. The more greenhouse gases we release, the thicker this blanket becomes and the more heat it traps. That's the science behind global warming. It's straightforward, yet its implications are far-reaching and complex. Now, what happens when our planet gets too warm? It's a question that carries with it a weight of profound implications. The consequences of global warming are far-reaching, affecting every corner of our Earth in one way or another. Firstly, let's consider the rising sea levels. As the Earth's temperature increases, so does the rate at which our polar ice caps melt. The melted ice, once towering high on our planet's poles, now flows into our oceans, causing sea levels to rise. This results not only in the loss of polar habitats but also in the flooding of coastal cities and islands. Imagine, if you will, cities like Venice or Miami, completely submerged underwater. It's a frightening thought, isn't it? Next, we've got the increased frequency and intensity of natural disasters. Our warming planet is disrupting weather patterns, leading to more frequent and severe storms, heat waves, and wildfires. These disasters wreak havoc on communities, causing loss of life, property, and livelihoods. In the past few decades, we've seen a surge in these extreme weather events, a trend that's set to continue if global warming persists. Then there's the threat to biodiversity. As temperatures rise, many species struggle to adapt. Polar bears, penguins, and other cold-loving creatures face the loss of their icy homes, while coral reefs, some of the most diverse ecosystems on the planet, bleach and die off in warmer, more acidic oceans. Lastly, let's not forget about the human cost. Global warming threatens food and water supplies, exacerbates health risks, and can even fuel conflict over scarce resources. It's a domino effect where one change triggers another and another, leading to a cascade of environmental, social, and economic challenges. Sadly, these are not hypothetical scenarios, but harsh realities we're already witnessing. As our planet continues to warm, these devastating effects will only become more pronounced. So, it's clear that global warming isn't just an environmental issue. It's a crisis that affects us all, and it's high time we address it. But global warming is just one piece of the puzzle. Climate change is the bigger picture. And how do these two relate? Well, global warming, the increase in Earth's average temperature, is a primary driver of climate change. It's like turning up the heat on your stove. The temperature increase doesn't just make your soup hotter, it changes how the soup cooks. Similarly, global warming doesn't just make our planet hotter, it changes our climate system. This alteration in the climate system disrupts the overall weather patterns, leading to more frequent and severe weather events. We're talking about intense hurricanes, prolonged droughts, deadly heat waves, and devastating floods. It's like our weather is on an unpredictable roller coaster ride and we're all strapped in. Now let's take a moment to consider the impact of these changes on agriculture and wildlife. A change in temperature can shift the growing seasons, affecting the crops that farmers can grow. It can alter the amount and pattern of rainfall, making some regions too dry for farming and others too wet. These changes can lead to smaller harvests, higher food prices, and even food shortages. As for wildlife, they're not faring any better. Animals and plants have evolved to survive in specific habitats, but when these habitats change faster than they can adapt, it can lead to a decrease in biodiversity. We're seeing polar bears starving as Arctic ice melts, coral reefs dying as oceans warm and acidify, and countless species being pushed to the brink of extinction. So, when we talk about climate change, we're not just talking about hotter summers or colder winters, we're talking about a fundamental shift in the world as we know it. We're talking about our food, our water, our homes, our livelihoods, and the rich tapestry of life that makes our planet so unique. Climate change is not just an environmental issue but a threat to our very existence. It's a grim picture, but not all hope is lost. Indeed, there are viable solutions to the monumental issue of global warming and climate change. One of the most promising solutions is the shift towards renewable energy sources. Solar, wind, and hydroelectric energy are not only sustainable, but they also emit zero greenhouse gases. By harnessing these clean energy sources, we can significantly reduce the carbon dioxide emissions that contribute to global warming. In addition to renewable energy, reducing our carbon footprint plays a critical role in mitigating global warming. This could mean choosing to walk or bike instead of driving, reducing energy consumption at home, or opting for more sustainable products. It's about making conscious decisions that are kinder to our planet. Another effective strategy is afforestation, the process of planting trees to create forests. Trees are nature's own carbon sinks, absorbing carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. By planting more trees, we can offset some of the carbon emissions that contribute to global warming. Lastly, but certainly not least, is the need for international cooperation. Global warming is a global issue and it needs a global solution. Nations around the world must come together, setting aside political differences, to combat this common enemy. This could involve sharing technological advancements, creating universal environmental policies, or providing financial support to countries that are most affected by climate change. The solutions are there, and they are within our reach. But they require commitment, effort, and a willingness to change. They require us to rethink how we live, how we consume, and how we interact with our environment. And while it's true that individual actions alone won't solve the problem, they are a crucial part of the solution. Each small step we take towards sustainability is a step in the right direction. It's a step towards a healthier planet, a safer future, and a more sustainable way of life. While the challenges are enormous, so too is our collective potential to address them. You might be wondering, what can I as an individual do about this? Let's put this into perspective. The fight against global warming and climate change isn't just a grand-scale operation. It's also a ground-level endeavor. It's about the collective power of individual actions. Each of us has a role to play, and every small step we take can add up to make a significant impact. Think about reducing waste. Did you know that if each of us committed to producing less waste, we could drastically cut down on the amount of garbage that ends up in our landfills and oceans? And it's not just about recycling, it's also about consuming less and consuming responsibly. And what about our energy consumption? By embracing energy-efficient appliances and renewable energy sources, we can reduce our carbon footprint. We can drive less, bike more, and support public transportation. But it's not just about personal habits. We can also use our voices to advocate for environmental policies. We can vote for leaders who prioritize the environment, support businesses that are eco-friendly, and raise awareness about the urgency of this issue. So, never underestimate your power as an individual. Your actions matter. They ripple out into the world, influencing others, shaping communities, and ultimately impacting the planet. Remember, every action counts, and together, we can make a difference.